What's up, nerds? Been a hot minute since I actually uploaded anything here. So, I've been asked to do more tutorials because I am very slow with those. I'm very slow. I hesitate to call them tutorials because I'm not, like, professional. I'm not, like... what's the word? School didn't give me these things. I found them on the ground, if that makes sense. So, take everything that I say with a grain of salt. It's just my process. You can do whatever the hell you want. A couple of disclaimers I have. First of all, for some fucking reason, while I was recording all of this, Procreate decided to be incredibly slow and also crash. So I did speed up the footage to like 3 times, but if you notice some weirdness and like some pauses or like big cuts, it's because Procreate crashed no less than 10 times. I think at one point I also lost footage, but it was like a minimal amount of footage, so we should be fine. Anyway, this is what I start with. I do a lot of like the skin rendering process on the color layer, and I wish I'd recorded that, but by the time people were jonesing for this, I'd already finished that, so that ship sailed, right? Anyway, on with the video. I typically use a linear burn and like a kind of yellowish, greenish color for most of my pieces actually, because that's like the color palette for everything. On other stuff, maybe it'll be like a purple or a blue or fucking who knows, but it boils down to, you know, make a linear burn layer, clip it to your characters, and then like set it to something that's relatively light, like I'd say the top half of the spectrum. And in whatever color you want, in whatever color looks best, right? And then instead of erasing it, which I usually erase it, I didn't erase it quite as much in this one. I actually just painted over with a much lighter yellow, but that's in the future. Anyway, I actually take like a black or a close to black and I just draw in there, so now it's a linear burn layer that is mostly this like greenish color, and then there's the little areas of this more muted, more cool toned shadow that really helps me get like those little extra shadows in. And then after that, I will erase a lot of the main layer to add the highlight. So I can kind of do it on all one layer, but I don't always follow that exactly. Like again, on this one, I really like the look of just the full overarching linear burn, and I really didn't want to erase anything, so I just kind of painted over with a really bright yellow. And that comes way far away. Anyway, I just paint in the very, very shadowed parts, mostly like the shadows cast by other objects, and then the linear burn itself will be like the ambiance. I don't fucking know how to explain it, man. Cast shadows I typically do in like the black or like the darker color, and then I usually erase with a much softer brush, and I didn't even do that there, so I don't know why I'm explaining this, but if you understand, you understand. I'm also noticing, well, I noticed it during the process, but like I'm especially noticing now how strange the highlight on Techno's face looks. I fixed that way later, but for most of this, that's there, so it's like, you're gonna run into shit that you want to change later on. That's normal, right? Anyway, I'm still painting. I have it set to 3 times speed, and I don't want to do it any faster, so people can still like follow along. But I'm left with nothing to talk about. Until I'm finished with the shading here, I'm going to talk about the pigeons. I got a pigeon who had a broken wing from the forest because I live in a swamp, and my brother found it with his 4-wheeler, and he was adorable and he's wonderful, and I had him for 2 days, and he would stand on my shoulder for the duration of the 2nd day until I had to bring him to a rehab. So that's great. And oh my god, I keep thinking it's gonna end soon. Are we good? Okay, we're good. Now it's the, you know, the painting and the highlights time, except this time it really was like the highlights or like the shines on the face rather than those larger areas. You can kind of see the larger areas that I tackle, like on the forehead and parts of the cheek, but it's mostly like, yeah, it's mostly small bits. Anyway, that's the fun thing here. I change it up almost every single fucking time that I draw something, which really makes it difficult to make tutorials that I can actually stick to, but it helps me improve, so I'm not gonna complain. Circling back to the actual, like, colors of the face that I had previously, I also did that with linear burn, and I actually use a method which is turning a version of my coloring brush into a linear burn. I don't know if everybody's art programs can do that, but if you can make your brush burn, then do that. Like change the blending mode of your brush. It's a really cool feature, and I turn it on like a low opacity and just go over and over and over with reddish colors until I build up the right color in certain parts of the face. I am just realizing now that I fucking forgot to add freckles. I always do that. Okay, when I post this to Instagram, I'm gonna add the freckles because I'm a really fucking cool kid who posts every couple of days. So this post is gonna be in a couple of days, so I have a chance to fix that now. Fuck yes. Here I am continuing to accentuate that really weird highlight. Don't know why I'm doing that. I was really hoping to find a way to fix it without having to do the overpainting, but I ended up overpainting it anyway. Whatever. Did I explain the facial, like, colors properly? I hope so. I don't know. I hope that made sense. Like, you know, use a brush and just slowly build up that colors. If you don't have blending modes on your brush, then just, create a new layer and set it to a low opacity. Like, that's fine, right? That works for everything else. You're just gonna have to use more layers. Oh, here's the fun part. For my shading and for my ambiance and environment, I only really use linear burn, linear light, and pin light. And in this one, I only used pin light. I essentially will pick a color that is a little bit on the top half of the color wheel, like in terms of like, value, how bright it is. And as you can see, it kind of like gives this nice lightening effect that is also bright and not just like the lighten tool. I usually use it with the green, or not green, but like the teal that you see here. You'll see that in a lot of my pieces. But in this one, it was very warm, so I really went with like red for most of it. I do that for pretty much anything that is not in focus. Like, it really helps you accentuate what you want the person to look at. So if I have two arms in a piece, almost guaranteed one of them is going to be covered in a pin light that will slightly put it in the background for the viewer, if that makes, like here, right? Like, this is a perfect example of how I usually use it, where it's just like, okay, that part of the hair is in the background. I want to separate it from the dark values of the face by setting it apart a little bit, like that is 100% in the background, and I want the face to be very vivid compared to it. Yeah, that's the pin light. I pretty much just paint over various parts in a way that vaguely makes sense. This one doesn't, this piece doesn't really have a concise, like, source of light. It's just kind of my general, oh yeah, I'm shading a face, look at me go kind of thing. This is the point where my fucking shit crashed and I lost all of the rendering on Tommy's face. It wasn't that much. It looks like a lot. It's just the overpainting. You can still see me doing a little bit here. I just take a really hard brush and I paint over everything, but I do it on another layer. I do it on another layer because the brush that I use is so gritty. It's got so much texture to it that in the end of my piece, I will always add like a little sharpen effect over it. And when I do that and I don't like put this on another layer, it will make it way too sharp. So I put it all on another layer, I overpaint on a completely different layer, and that, oh Jesus, it's late at night. Fuck everything. Anyway, what the fuck was I talking about? I was gonna edit all of this audio, but now I'm like, I have so much shit to talk through. I have like 11 minutes of footage, I'm fine. Anyways, it's such a grainy brush that the sharpen layer will really accentuate that in a way that is kind of unappealing. So I will blur it just like 1%. Blur the entire layer like 1%, and then I'm pretty good. I will overpaint stuff like glasses and pretty much everything, like, you know, the tear ducts in the eye, all that funky shit. I also like to add a whole bunch of scattered like little hairs in the hair just to add extra texture. There's a pin light for the glasses. I actually use pin light for that again. Yeah, it's fucking, I don't know how to explain where I do or don't choose to use overpainting, but over time you kind of intuit it. I wish I could be more help with that, but yeah. I don't have any rhyme or reason to where I add like the hair. It's just kind of like whatever looks right, and I add parts of the background, and I just like color pick from random parts of the canvas for all of this. Like, it's not like I'm getting it off the color wheel, it's 100% color picking. I also color pick from the background, as you can see in some of these parts, and put little lines in between certain parts of the character and the background to make everything blend into itself. Like mostly on the neck you can see, and like just, you know, chunks all around. You can see it on Wilbur's neck, you can see it on Tommy's neck. And I also separate parts of the character. So if a character had like their hand over part of their face, I would probably highlight the edge of that. Yeah, as you can see what I'm doing with the hair right now. It's just something that helps you follow what is in front and what is behind, and it also helps tie the character into the colors of the background, because I often use the background colors for that. I am doing the same process for Techno here. I probably should have rendered the gold in his hair a little bit better, but you know, hindsight's 2020, and I just finished this like half an hour ago, so I haven't had much time to sit on it. Anyway, oh, ignore that fucking pause. I've been talking for 10 minutes, which isn't much in the grand scheme of things, but holy shit, it's a lot for me. I overpaint all this shit. Hopefully I'm going to handle that cheek soon. There we go, finally. Like, you know, just completely redoing that little area, making it look more like a human being. Fuck yes. We did it. We done did it. It's not perfect, but I still really like it. I don't know what else to say about this. You can kind of, hopefully you can follow along with like visually what I'm doing. Just color picking and sketching shit and making things into shapes, and boom. There's some of the outlining that you can see, like just a little bit on his chin of like, okay, separating his beard from his hair just to help figure out what part is what, and, you know, what's in the background without using the pen light layer that might muddy the colors a little bit, because sometimes certain colors just don't really work with the pen light. The fuck else do I say? I'm rendering so much. Just a fact, this is about 45 minutes of footage, condensed down into like 11 minutes. I lost like 7 minutes, I think, for Tommy's face. So it doesn't take me too long to do like the final touches. Honestly, the longest part is usually sketching and sometimes line art. If I can get a good sketch, I can get good line art, but if I'm struggling on the sketch, then I'm going to struggle on the line art. Oh yeah, here's just the final details. And oh, I saw this shit on Instagram Reels and I wanted to try it out really bad. So here's like that pizza hack. You put this on here and then set the layer to overlay, and then you turn down the opacity, and it actually looks fucking wicked. Like, it looks awesome. Anyway, it's finished. I really hope that helped some people. I hope you were able to get through my really late night ramblings, because I was gonna cut the audio. I'm not fucking doing that. I'm not doing that this late. I've already put way too much effort into this tonight. I've finished 2 pieces of art, and I'm gonna go and add freckles and maybe some shining gold to this one and then post it in a couple of days. I will see you guys fucking later. Thank you for watching.